with more opportunities and career. Still, there are so many hurdles to be crossed over in the journey. However, tomorrow belongs to those who are working for it today. I'm truly honored to have a little chat with Dr. T.Bina, the Director of Happy Valley B School, an eminent academician and a dynamic entrepreneur. Welcome.
Pleasure is mine.
Would you give a brief profile about you?
Yeah, why not? So, my name is Bina. I've been born and raised in Coimbatore. So, being from the city of Coimbatore, which is also the Oxford of education in India, is what they say. I've had the best of education in schools and colleges in Coimbatore. So, the best thing about Coimbatore is anybody who comes in, we never have the feel to get out of Coimbatore. And therefore, I chose to stay back in Coimbatore. My mother is a professor, and just like any other, parent, they wish that their child becomes what they are, and that's how I decided to get into teaching. But then down the line, maybe after 10 years of teaching, I realized, why shouldn't I also run an institution where I can teach so that I have the best of both? And that's how I got into the business of teaching. When I say the business of teaching, in my heart I'm still a teacher, but then me along with a few friends of mine, we run this institution called Happy Valley Business School. It's a 16-year-old institution, and here we are, as far as I know, doing good service to the students who come to us. I'm an electronics and communication engineer basically, but then my heart was not into engineering. Chose to do something in management and got into an MBA program. And what I loved about this MBA program was that you can apply whatever you learn, and that made me do specialize more in management, and that's how I did my MPhil and my Ph.D. in management. And I strongly feel management is about marketing the company, marketing the people, and of course marketing its products, and therefore I specialized in marketing. I am a trainer, as well as I'm on the board of many associations, and what I try to do here is to help companies brand themselves and people brand themselves too. So that's about me in short.
That is great, ma'am.
Thank you.
While going through your profile, it clearly shows that you are a perfect example for the poem, The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. Being an ECE graduate, when did you actually find your calling for the teaching?
Well, the problem of being good in studies is that you get good marks in your higher secondary, and the next best option that you can take is engineering, especially in a country like India, especially in a state like Tamil Nadu, and especially in my house where people think that anybody who studies well should become either a doctor or an engineer. I'm talking about 30 years ago, when I completed my schooling, and my marks forced me to become an engineer. So I too got into engineering, and I came out with flying colors. I was a topper in college. So naturally I got into a good job, and maybe because I did my interview well, I was put straight into the R&D department. And that is when I realized I was a big zero. There was a lot of distance that I thought I should cover from what I had learned in college to what's actually happening in the R&D department. So every day proved to me that the distance was getting farther and farther, and I did not want to do something which I did not have my heart in. It was too late for me to think of something else, and those days the options were also very less. There was no Google, so there was nobody to give me the right advice. And that is when somebody suggested, why don't you get into management? There were very few institutions in Coimbatore at that time, because by then all the entrance examinations were over for the current academic year, and I was not a person who wanted to waste a year. So there was this university coming up with a new batch of MBA program, took up their entrance test, and thankfully got into the group discussion, and group discussions did well, and here I am with an MBA degree. And once I did my MBA degree, or while doing it, I realized that I loved management, because whatever I learned, I was able to see, I was able to practice, I was able to change whatever I thought I needed to change, and all that was easy without the intervention of anybody else. So when so much of power was in my hands, I felt MBA is the course for me. So that was the reason why I changed from being an electronics engineer to a management graduate. And from there, I guess it is just fate, and it is also a lot of pressure from home. Being a woman those days, there was a lot of stigma about going out of your native to work, getting into professions which were dominated by male. When I completed my engineering in 1994, there were hardly one or two companies which were the so-called IT companies. So we were not even aware of a company like an Infosys. For that matter, it was not there. It did not even come for placements. So the number of organizations which took in female engineers were very less, especially in a place like Coimbatore, which was dominated by textile engineers and mechanical engineers. So my choices trickled down to very, very few options, and that is when people said teaching is the right job for you. So I took up teaching as a short-term occasion. I thought, okay, till I get the next best job, let me be in teaching. But I have been always very lucky, because the first batch of students were the best batch of students, and they said, please do not leave us until we move out. And the second batch of students also said the same. The third batch also said the same. And right now I've completed 26 years of my teaching. Well, I'm not sure whether my students still feel the same, but then I am a teacher all through my life, and I wish to be the same even now. So that's my journey so far.
That is really interesting. The society we live in, they will have a different notion about the women who are following their passion rather than sitting like an ideal wife. Have you ever come across such kind of tantrums, and how did you overcome those things?
I think every woman across the world goes through this. I don't know why. For a man, he has to be a good husband. That's it. Sometimes even that is not necessary. He has to be a husband. But then for a woman, she has to take on multiple roles. You know, you never have a god which has multiple weapons, but you have a woman as a female god which has multiple weapons, which itself shows that a woman has multiple roles to perform. She has to be an ideal daughter, she has to be an ideal mom, she has to be an ideal wife, she has to be an ideal employee, she has to be an ideal neighbor, she has to be ideal everything. Well, basically I am a peace-loving person. I hate to make enemies with anybody. If that is the case, I definitely do not like to have enemies within the family. So what I did was, I tried to buy peace. I tried to buy peace by doing whatever they wanted initially, and then did what I wanted to do. So I was a person who thought I shouldn't get married at all. And then I was the first one to get married when I was doing my MBA itself. So starting from there, so when I did that, my parents kept quiet for some time. And then once I got married, maybe in a year's time, I gave birth to my first baby. So after which, I think the basic so-called responsibilities of a woman are almost done, and there was nobody to stop me. Of course, even people at home, they never wanted me to stop for anything. They only said, do this and do that. And I did that. So I did whatever they wanted to do, and I also did what I wanted to do. Definitely having a working woman at home, I meant my mother, it was a big support, because even to look after the kid, maybe to understand what I'm going through, she was a big support to me, physically, emotionally, financially, and everything. So that being the case, my first twist with a job was not really difficult. And we do not have a choice most of the times. It is not that there is plenty at home that we decide to stay at home. You know, sometimes it's not the bread and the butter alone. Today people don't live with bread and butter. They want layers of cheese, and they want layers of strawberry, and they want layers of chocolate on that. So this extra comes from the income of a woman. So who would say no to it? And that's how I began my work life. As I said, it is 26 years. And all these years, even today, I'm dependent on my family for support. And in all these 26 years, they have given me unconditional support. If any one of them had even retraced 1% behind, I would not have reached where I am today. So my full 100% thanks and gratitude is to my family.
That is really thought-provoking. Around us, we have a lot of women who actually wanted to follow their passion and what they wanted to do. But most of them are not able to get into that. According to you, what might be the major hindrance behind a girl's dream?
I feel the major hindrance is only that person. And I always believe in a very simple quote: if you can, you can, and if you can't, you can't. So if a woman wishes to, I doubt if there is anybody to stop her. If a person decides to listen to people, then all around her life, all through her life, she needs to keep listening. Take the good. Nobody asks you not to take the good, but then always have a voice of your own. Because when you say stand on your feet, physically we all stand when we are 1 year old. But then from there, if you need to have something else, that something else is called respect. That something else is called self-worth. That something else is called self-confidence. This is the food for a woman to continue her life journey. And for that, you need to be economically independent. However rich you may be, finding the pride in taking that 1 rupee out of the money that you have earned, the confidence that you get out of driving your own vehicle, the happiness that you have in buying something for your mother or for your child out of the money that you have earned, well, that happiness cannot be compared with anything. And nor is it worthy enough to say no just because somebody is asking you not to say no. So if there's somebody to say no, tell them the reason. There is nobody in this world who does not listen to reason. If a person does not listen to reason, he has decided that he or she does not want you to grow. Then you need not reciprocate, is my way of looking at things. If a person really loves you and you give the right reason, I'm sure any person who loves another person will not say no to a person who wishes to grow. So as I said in the beginning, if a woman wants, there is nobody to stop her but herself.
That was an eye-opener. Excellent. What is the key behind this unbeatable confidence?
Really? You think I'm confident?
Definitely,
Well, I guess every human being born into this world is confident. If that child were not confident, it would not raise its hand, it would not raise its leg, it would not cry. Over a period of time, there are always people around us who say, shh, don't talk, don't go there, don't do this, don't do that. The more you listen to people, as I said, if it is what you want to do and people say no to you, you have a choice of going to the other side and saying yes, 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 remaining silent, then your confidence wanes. You fall down, you get up, you fall down, you get up, confidence comes to you automatically. I am one kind of a person who is very, very, very self-made. My birthday is in August, and going with the sun sign, I am a Leo. So a Leo's basic personality trait is that the Leo does not listen to anybody. The Leo likes to take his or her own decision. And the Leo knows or thinks that he or she is a leader. So when you have this inside you, it is very difficult to seek help from anybody. So when you are so proud internally, you definitely tend to become confident. And when you become confident, when you feel confident inside, you look confident on the outside. When you look confident on the outside, you get what you want. When you get what you want, again this feeling of internal confidence goes, therefore external confidence grows. And all this happens without you even not realizing it. Maybe a question like this makes me realize or makes me wonder, do I look confident? Maybe yes, because I never go near people who say this is not to be done this way. I always am in the company of people who give me the right advice, who always try to lift me up. You need to have wings to fly, and you need to have the right wind under your wings. The wind under your wings are the right people around you. And if you say I'm confident, it is definitely because of the people I have around me. I'm very fortunate to have very lovely family members, my children who are my biggest motivators, my friends who always keep, pumping me with a lot of confidence even if I don't want it. So these are my confidence boosters.
It is fascinating, as you are. I can see so many achievements and awards here. Which one do you think you are most proud of?
I think these are all achievements on paper and this is for others to see. But the biggest achievement for me is that I'm still on my own feet. I can think with my own head. I can speak the way I want. I can love anybody I want and I receive love the way I want. I think that's my biggest achievement. As far as I know, I never hurt anybody, intentionally at least. And I feel that's the biggest achievement of mine. When somebody has bad thoughts about others, that person is never able to smile. People keep ridiculing me because they say I can drink a very strong coffee and the next minute I can go to sleep. So I think that's my biggest achievement. My heart is clean, my mind is ever green to take in as many people and as many good wishes as required. And I think that's what is important for a human being. And I'm very rich that way. And I think that's my biggest achievement.
That is really great. Despite these many achievements, do you think you have something more to do?
As already mentioned, I have not achieved anything so far in life. What I've achieved is just a step-by-step journey in my life, which thankfully, because the intentions were good, nothing bad has happened so far. But I'll have to just tell you something. When we started this business school, the first year, we had a strength of 60. There were 2 girls, which means hardly, what's the percentage? Maybe around 5, not even 5% of girls. Today, in a strength of 240, we have more than 150 students who are girls. I feel this is the biggest achievement, women empowerment. 15 years ago, people used to wonder whether a woman could become a manager, whether a woman needs to become a postgraduate in an MBA program. Today, in a business school like ours, I see more girls than boys. I think this is the biggest achievement. And the next biggest achievement which I am looking forward to is that year when I say the admission is closed with 100% women. I think that's one thing which I'm looking forward to.
That is really great.
There is no rocket science behind this name. It's 2 simple words which we all know, but which we seldom use, which we seldom feel, which we seldom admire. Happiness is something which we are all entitled to. People have money, but they don't have happiness. People don't have money, then also they do not have happiness. So is income directly proportional to happiness? No, but many people think so. When you look at a country, people weigh a country by its GDP, gross domestic produce. But there are countries which are weighed on its gross domestic happiness, or gross national happiness they call it. And India doesn't stand in that list at all, because we are always very stressed. Because we fight for resources, and naturally there is a challenge for resources, and therefore the happiness vanishes. So what we thought is, first, everything will follow, or even if it doesn't follow, there's one thing which should be permanent, and that's happiness. So that is why this name, Happy. Valley is a place where maybe 2 mountains meet, or 2 hills meet. So when 2 mountains meet, that's a place where it's very fertile. The water lands here, so it's very fertile. Whatever you sow, there is always a great harvest from that. So we thought this place should be a valley. Whatever you try to teach children, children should grow out of that knowledge. So that's the reason why me and my partners here decided to name it Happy Valley, a place where children can germinate with knowledge that we sow into their minds, all the while remaining happy. Go after a career, but at the same time, this smile should only become upward.
Yeah.
It should never contract. So that's the reason behind this name, Happy Valley Business School.
It is really an apt name. What is your daily dose of motivation?
Daily dose of motivation. Wow. I hope I don't sound very proud, but then the daily dose of motivation is my face on the mirror. When I look at myself in the mirror every day, there are two questions which come back to me. One is, it says, hey, you're growing old. So whatever you want to do it fast. So that's the first one. Second is, it keeps asking me, what is it that you're doing? What is it that you did yesterday? What is it that you're planning to do today? I need to give it an answer the next day. So I think that mirror on my wall, I don't ask questions, who is the fairest of the all? But I do want to know, what is it that I can do today? I think that's the biggest motivator for me every day.
That is really educating. Maybe we also need to do the same.
Welcome.
Who is your inspiration?
Well, there is no one inspiration, because in life we get inspired by many things. Life is not just about work. Life is not just about business. Life is it's a whole, and that whole is made up of many things. For me, if you see, I need to get up in the morning and I look at my mother. She's an inspiration. She gets up 1 hour before me. She's around 82 years old and she always has this quote for herself which says, if I rest, I rust. So even if I rest for 2 minutes, I keep looking at her and I think, oh my God, I shouldn't rest. So starting from there, my CEO and I come together. Every time he opens his mouth, he talks about a particular book. Every time there is an interaction with him, I learn something new. So to learn something new and to have a different perspective of things, I need his idea. He is my inspiration for that. Students, when I see every student fighting her way through, they all come from backgrounds which need not be which not many people understand. They have fought their way up from a geographical location to a financial problem, to an academic problem, to a cultural problem, and they sit right in front of me, trying to do something which it's not very easy for them to do. Every student is an inspiration for me. In the evening, when I think of a friend of mine who is a doctor, he gets up in the morning at 5, continues with operations until 10 o'clock non-stop. And at 10 o'clock, his voice still has the same energy that you have in the morning at 6 o'clock. He still finds ways to help people around him. He has a motto, every day I at least have to help one person. He is the biggest inspiration for me. So when you keep asking like this, there are so many inspirations around me. I steal inspirations from anybody that I come across, young and old. I don't look up to a Ambani or I don't look up to an Elon Musk, because I guess there are so many followers for them. They've got more than the due that they actually deserve. But there are so many people who go unnoticed. I feel we need to learn from them and we need to take their names to people. So those are my inspirations and people who I get inspired with.
That is really educating. Is there any piece of advice that you can give to the young ladies out there?
Today's young ladies are very smart. Who am I to give advice to them? But yes, one thing. The advice is again and again back to financial independence. I would say, whoever you are, however mighty you are, whoever you marry, whatever you inherit, stand on your own feet. Because during your life journey, you will not realize how soon your life goes. When you're 50, 60, 70, when you turn back, those steps that you have taken should be your steps. You should not be walking on somebody else's feet. That feet can be your husband or your father or your children. No, they should follow you. You cannot follow them. I think that's the first thing. Second is, never say no to any opportunity. I have never done that in my life. And I feel if somebody says yes to things and then decides how to do it, that yes will happen. If you start thinking, let me first know how to do it and then let me do it, that knowing shall never happen. So always say yes to the right things, and you will get to a place where not many people reach. And I think that's the only set of advice I would give a young lady today.
It is actually a privilege for me to have a conversation with you now. I believe this will reach out to so many young ladies to follow their passion. Thank you so much.
Pleasure was mine. It was a very wonderful session, and as I was talking to you, I realized that this was in my mind, and thanks for giving this opportunity to think aloud. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, ma'am. Now with no waste of time, we will move on to the rapid fire session. The first one is, what will you choose between the both, appeal or wit, and why?
Definitely appeal, because first thing is I'm not a very witty person. Appeal because you have it in you, and if you can get maximum number of people to listen to what you say, I think it works for me, and therefore appeal.
Okay, ma'am. Are you a hunter or gatherer?
Hunter, definitely. I am a Leo, lion, therefore a hunter.
What is the best piece of advice you have received so far?
Everybody says, just be yourself, and I am always what I am. So I think that's the best piece of advice I've received, and that's the best piece of advice that I am following.
In case if you are publishing your autobiography, what would be the title?
I always keep saying one thing to everybody around me: never underestimate me, or never underestimate a woman. So one of these would be the titles of my book.
Okay, ma'am. In case if you were born as an animal, which one you would prefer to be and why?
I would prefer to be always the king of the jungle, which is a lion.
Just because you
Not because I was born a Leo, but then I love regality. I love class. Somehow, whenever you look at certain products, when you see certain things, only that which has a class or standard, meets my eye. So I feel there are certain animals which are associated with that, and I'm sure the king of the jungle is the first. So that way, lion.
Can you describe yourself in 5 qualities?
I'm very proud. I'm very stubborn. I'm very disciplined. I'm very determined. I am patient.
Okay, ma'am. Now this is completely a hypothetical question. In case if you are given a blessing to time travel, which place will you choose?
You mean the geographical location?
Anywhere, geographical or it can be imaginary, it can be some Disneyland, anything.
No, I have time zone to go back. Actually, if you can tell me, give me a button and say I'll take you there, then I want to be in a place today where it is very serene. I don't want phones around me. I don't want people around me. I just want to lie back and think and wonder what to do next. I need the time today. So please take me to a place where time stands still for some time until I decide what I wish to do in my life next. So any place which can allow me that, welcome.
Maybe in the near future, if you ever have a chance to film the life of your journey, actually, whom will you cast to play your role?
I love many women actors, but somehow Nayanthara always takes the first seat. So Sridevi is no more. Else I would have definitely looked at Sridevi. But the next definitely is Nayanthara.
Okay, ma'am. Now, can you scale yourself from 1 to 10? How cool person you are?
Oh, I'm very cool. I'm 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. Or shall we go for 11 out of 10?
Not 11 out of 10. I'm not that cool, but then I am cool.